Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Journey. And finally, it has happened. If you have not checked your in-game mail, there should be an incredible amount of loot in there, depending on the progression that you made. Now, overall, when it comes to the new season, it seems like it has been incredibly slow for a majority of players, myself included. And the reason is they were really and severely nerfed the loot that we were actually getting from the content. So looking at our mail, I want to run through here in the compensation. So looking in your hotfix compensation, so of course that's a couple diamonds in there with the hot fixes that did happen. Now the AFK reward compensation, 2,300 diamonds and 23 scrolls. That is what we did not get out of this season AFK reward. So essentially from the primary game when we first started AFK Journey, this is what was nerfed coming into the new season. So I mean, you're talking what, 30 plus summons in there, which is a lot of summons. Now, in addition, looking at the corruptors, boom, we got another 90. Now, out of the corrupted creatures throughout all the zones, you actually got these again in the beginning of the game. When it came to the season, these were removed. So these were actually nerfed out, which again was kind of crazy. Looking at the Legends Trial, this is 24, but look at this. 10 million gold, a ton of different acorns, but we are getting 24 more invitation letters. And of course, we're going to go do some summons after this because it is insane to see. I mean, right now, we're looking at what, 50 plus, possibly even about 60 summons that we were missing again, just because of the nerf. Then of course, the Season Noble Society, look at the acorns, 8, 16, 24, what is that, 32? That is over 320 acorns, as well as the A-level soul stones. There are, what, 640 of those? That is an insane amount of heroes. I want to go ahead and pop all these open. And then, of course, the map compensation, we have another 1,515. So when you look in totality, if you remember the video from last night, we actually summoned quite a few heroes in there. But looking kind of at the compensation and where we're at for the new rewards in comparison to the last rewards, it is pretty incredible. And as you can see on PC, it seems like it's been kind of slow to load, but even here, so we used all of our scrolls. So we got 53 scrolls, 4,500 diamonds. Then of course, Epic, unfortunately, we didn't get any. Stargazer, we didn't get any as well. But let's see what we got. Now, this really gives us the ability to build heroes. And again, that is where, you know, a lot of players were starting with progression, going through the Resonating Hall. We were making pretty solid progression in here. And then it felt like a majority of players just hit a wall and literally hit a wall for progression as we're going through the content, because of course, with the very high nerfed rate that we've seen with all of the new content. Now, I don't know if there's anything else that we can get out of this, which both of the past we don't have at that point. But looking at our inventory, we have 90 stones here again. So of course, this is going to yield us a copy of Atlanta. As much as I'd like a hero that we could use, that unfortunately is not going to be the one. Then right here, we do have a lot of copies. Boom. Let's see. We got Naru. We got Leica in there. We got Marilee. Now, Marilee is already at Supreme Plus, but we do have a couple other heroes in here. We have Kruger in here. We have Damon in here, which I believe Damon's pretty close. Now, Seth, I have never built. And then, of course, looking at Kafra and looking at Naru, Leica. And then, of course, we do have Lucius in here as well. And I also got this chest. This was yesterday's chest. Now, looking at the heroes that we have in here, ultimately, I would probably go with Cassidy out of here. Again, Heowen, we already do have built up a little bit. Marius, we do not have. Thorn is already at, and I would really 100% advise you to pick Thorn out of this epic chest, but we already have Thorn at essentially Supreme Plus at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and build Cassidy. I don't know the effectiveness of the hero kind of going forward, but we're kind of yet to be seen. Now, of course, looking at the rest of these chests, we're going to have to get some more levels out of here to actually continue to build them out. Now, in addition, we talked about the Paragon mode. The Paragon mode is actually much further into AFK Journey. Drops us another bundle right there, but let's see who we can build. Now, remember, these are heroes that we didn't essentially have the opportunity to build before. So even they're getting a couple more copies, being able to build out or send that copy of Mariel. Now, again, thinking of progression-wise, this is going to make a big difference in progression when it comes to those towers, is having the ability to utilize some of these heroes if you need to. And especially if you're a newer player to AFK Journey, chances are you didn't have the ability in the earlier season or the original season to build out some of these heroes. So again, it's very imperative that looking at the build, essentially the build that we have on these heroes, making sure, again, that you're kind of doing progression on a regular basis. Because even though you're not using these heroes in a lot of the regular content, they are still seeing a lot of utilization in the towers and a lot of utilization in different game modes. Now, of course, with Naru, that takes us up to Legend. We need a couple more copies in there to actually take them up to Legendary Plus. But now let's get into the summons, guys. And overall, like I said before, looking at our diamond summons, we have 29 more. We are still looking for some copies of Ulsa, so maybe we'll be able to actually get a copy of her. Chances are, probability-wise, that we might not be able to, but that's okay, because every pull that we do in here is just going to give us more copies. And it looks like we do get one epic right there, which is a copy of Sylvana. Sylvana's almost maxed out. I believe at this point, Sylvana is almost maxed out. Now, the all-hero recruitment, again, we have 53 pulls in here. And looking at our tier list, so this wish list has actually changed quite a bit because we're continuing to get a lot of these heroes maxed out up to Supreme Plus. And you'll see, even looking at Thorn, looking at Cecilia, they are both maxed out at this point. Now, again, we could take them higher. We could go ahead and push and get a lot more copies to unlock the Paragon. But ultimately, I want to build up a multitude of heroes before we get into that Paragon. That way we can actually have a lot more heroes. And again, thinking a lot of Supreme Plus heroes to actually build these out. So let's see with the summons if we can pull some copies of some Supreme Plus heroes. Now, in addition, we can pull some A-level heroes, which usually we do, which there's a purple copy of Naru. Now, we just built him up a second ago. Hopefully we can see some gold, and there is a triple pull. Boom, we got copies of Kruger and Entendre. Now, of course, when it comes to the Maulers, very, very important. Maulers are a really strong faction in this game. Another triple right there for the pulls. We get another copy of Corinne. Now, I believe at Corinne, we need one. I think we only need one more copy of Corinne, and Corinne will actually be done all the way up to Supreme Plus again. 3 more purples on that one, which gives us Entendre, Naru, and again, looking at Sylvana in here. And there is Legendary Plus bundle, so it's popping up quite a few bundles in here. And again, guys, these are all summons that we wouldn't have. They are literally just ones that we would not have in their entirety or at all because, there we go, insufficient diamonds. Let's do our last 3 summons. But these are heroes that essentially, without the boost to build up these heroes from the nerf that we kind of... The nerf that we kind of received, not knowing the nerf, there's another copy of Corinne. Let's go ahead and edit heroes. So let's see. So I believe, let me pop back out because I think that will actually take him to Supreme Plus, which it does. There we go, guys. Another hero done at Supreme Plus. Very cool. Damage dealt to enemies 1 tile beyond is reduced by 25%. There we go. So another hero getting that Supreme Plus, still getting the season, building them up a little bit further. And of course, who else do we have? Kruger, finally 10 copies right there. And of course, Kruger doesn't require a really big build out. Even if you have his base level, it does work incredibly well. But if you can keep him up, he does do damage. And ultimately, I know a lot of players that said when you start getting him to the point of getting this shielding aspect, so getting him to Mythic Plus, to get the shielding aspect, it's kind of a game changer because of the survivability that this hero does possess. Now, of course, looking in the Mauler Tower, getting another copy of Entendre as kind of our primary tank out of there. We do have Brutus in there, but Entendre is usually the secondary or the primary tank because Brutus seems to die super, super fast within a lot of the content. So super excited to see all of the mail and all of the updates we got out of there. It's been, as you can see, 12 hours. We'll go ahead and collect up our loot, level up some of these heroes, and we are going to make and continue a lot more progression. So finally, we got enough to get Smokey up a little bit higher. And I know a lot of players, again, have just kind of continued progression through the game. They've been hitting the wall kind of at the end. And I'm going to go through here. Let's go ahead and build up a couple more of these heroes. Essence-wise, I feel like we're kind of getting stuck. The leveling up the heroes, we're getting a little bit stuck, but I feel like, again, we're kind of at the point where Essence is making the big difference. And of course, as we continue to make progression, it's going to just slowly improve. As we're going through here, we're doing more damage. We're essentially pushing a lot more content. Can we level up another hero? We're still getting the little notification right here. Some of these are hard to see, especially when it is in the yellow. Sometimes it doesn't show up. Now this one, of course, convert. This might have been what was actually popping it. So 297, again, we're going to have to go through, make some more progression through the current content and also going in the Abyss. But looking at here at the Dream Realm, I'm gonna have to trek, and we used a couple different formations in here. And I wanna make sure, guys, an easy way to do this or to swap this out is going into this little 3 dots right here. So breaking up this map and then looking at the heroes that you do have in here, because you can change them based on level. You wanna make sure that your strongest heroes are essentially the ones that you have in here. So I'm not using Merrily in here. So I'm gonna drop Rainier in here. And because Rainier, you know what? I'm gonna keep him in there. So one thing that we've been doing is Thorin linking back here with Rainier. We are going to port Odie right on this side. Then, of course, we have Smokey and Coco in here. Let's see if we can get a little bit more damage because we built them up a little bit further. Even Rainier, we've been building out on a regular basis. And, of course, we don't want him to die. That is the reason why we do the link with Thorin, is making sure or trying to keep him alive and essentially seeing how much damage he can put out. Now, of course, in this formation, Odie is the primary damage dealer that we have here. Rainier needs to be Mythic Plus, so we do need, I believe, 2 more copies at this point. But of course, when it comes to getting copies of Celestials and Hypo Heroes, it is pretty much impossible, unfortunately, at this point. But 52 seconds left, and look at the bars. They're doing a lot of damage pretty quick on here. Now, of course, we had the shield up. I got Coco actually built up a little bit further, trying to keep these heroes alive. Because essentially, if you're not here for the duration of the battle, if these heroes are dying out just like Rainier did right there, you're just losing damage. You're losing nothing but straight damage if you don't have the ability to keep them. Then, of course, Thorin's retaliation ability, if you can get that to land, which we just did right there, makes a big difference. Trying to keep these heroes shielded up, trying to keep them actually healthed up. Smokey goes down right there. We're probably going to eclipse maybe 80%. 79.29, 343 million. So the last attempt we did was actually a little bit better. We've been swapping out a few different heroes to try to get to that 90%, because again, just kind of seeing where we're at, and Rainier might make a big difference. So I'm gonna have to see, even looking in here and keeping some heroes alive where we do have them built. But all right, guys, so that is gonna do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.